Day 2 in Zion. We are moving from Site 6 to Site 5. Site 5 is near water. We had some puddles. I tried purifying the water out of the puddles. The problem was there was so much silt got in, it allowed the filter to give me 3/4 of a liter almost. And then trying to backwash it, I used half of that. Trying to backwash the filter and leaving us with just enough for Jenny to wash her hands and face. But it was a very quiet site. Beautiful starry night. There's so little light pollution here and in Bryce Canyon. You see the stars like you've never seen them before. So we're heading up through this canyon to our next campsite. It's only 1.9 miles, so like 2.5 kilometers. And then what we're going to do is to deposit all of our bedding and tent and stuff at the site. But then we want to run back to the car, which is about 1.7 miles the other way. The reason being, somehow we forgot to bring the salt. And salt is important to have in our diet because we're losing so much of it in the height of the day. The other thing we thought was, why not take one of the tours, the canyon tours, the Zion shuttle bus tour up the scenic route. You aren't allowed to drive there yourself, so you have to get on a free shuttle bus. So we thought we'd do that, and then I came up with a small shopping list for the store. So meanwhile our stuff will be parked at the campsite, but we're taking our pots with us and our stove so we can have a picnic lunch somewhere. So this little river seems to have been littered with huge boulders. The water somehow gets through when there's a big storm, but we're supposed to walk up it. Anyway, right here appears as though a lot of people have gone around some of these big boulders, and there's a kind of a path here. Oh yeah, this seems to be it too. Okay. Yeah, this will be a bit easier. Hopefully this path stays for a while. Oh well, crow's gone. So we've been following up this wash, which just has wet spots. Then all of a sudden, I mean there's the odd puddle like that, all of a sudden we come to this. And so you hear water flowing, it's a waterfall. But it stops flowing, so I assume it's disappearing into the ground. So there's not enough water flow for it to go any farther. This is where the little river stops. And we're just over halfway between the two campsites. We are almost at the campsite, we think. There's certainly a lot more running water. We're looking for a spring and a sign with campsite number 5. Anytime now, but measuring by GPS and saying, okay, we've gone the right distance, we kept having to change our mind on trail and double back a little bit. So, I guess we have to allow a couple of tenths of a mile of error. And I assume they're going to put, like they had 3 signs, 2 saying that the site was ahead for number, was it 6 we were at? And 5. No, but we're at 5, we're heading for 5. 6 is where we were yesterday. So they had 2 signs showing that it was up ahead and then 1 saying this is it here. So we're looking for a spring coming out of a rock on the left. Wow. Finally found campsite number 5. We're not set up yet. And a spring down here. Jenny's sitting on a rock in the nice shade, and the reason we know it's the spring is because there doesn't appear to be a source of water into it over land. It's all dry, going up where the runoff is from the hills, and then all of a sudden there's this big spring. And when there's a lot of animal footprints around it, then you know you're onto something, because they know, they're smart, they live here. So it's a nice shaded area down here. We're going to make a meal, and this isn't exactly what I picture when someone says a spring in the mountains. That's it, and then it trickles off over there. So this is our Jeep that we've been driving around Utah. It's a nice little vehicle. So we stopped off on the main tourist road in Zion Park, specifically so I could get out and take a terribly touristy video in the middle of their winding roadway that goes through the park. There's one roadway you can drive on, and there's one road that you can only take a tour bus on. So obviously this isn't that second one. So here we are at the same access point in Zion Park as before. We're heading back to the campsite 5 that we settled in this morning. We went right back out to the road, got in the car, drove in to the park, and we're tourists for a few hours. Now we're back to being backcountry hikers and doing this same hike basically for the third time. But only the first time had equipment, and then the other 2 times are just a very light backpack because we left the camp set up. So I'm going to show how I dealt with an issue. I kind of misplaced my baseball cap. Decided not to take apart the whole knapsack looking for it. Set off and realized it is so blistering hot I need to cover my head. Now I have zip-off hiking pants, and I decided that maybe there was a chance that the zip-off leg that I wasn't wearing, well, one of the 2, they were both zipped off, that perhaps it was the right circumference for my head. So I found that if I put it on with the wider part, which is the part with the zipper on it, around my head, it would fit. Now, it may look stupid, but I found the baseball cap was forever making my head itch. I was forever whipping it off and trying to let some air in and so on. When I put this pant leg on my head, it fits nicely. It drapes down over the back of my neck, and when I have the sun towards my neck, it helps shade it a bit. And I didn't find it all that uncomfortable. I wasn't forever whipping it off. So I'm not sure I'm going to use a baseball cap in future. If it's hot enough to need your head covered, you probably don't care about having your legs bare. It just depends how much grub you're rubbing against. And I did this whole trail now so far in shorts and got along fine. So it doesn't matter how many of these backcountry hikes you do, you seem to learn something every trip. So that was a kind of a bee thing, but boy, it was huge and colorful. So we are continuing up the trail. We're maybe 3/4, no, Not quite 3/4 of the way, probably 5/8. So it's getting later in the evening. We are following horse prints. There's a horse been through all this, and it seems to have picked a very nice trail. So we're following it, and we're making great progress. In the distance over there is a canyon wall that's quite bright. I don't know if it's coming out in the camera. When we get to that, we have to turn right a little bit, and then we go up further around a bit of a corner in the canyon, you know, where the river has cut, the creek has cut its gorge, and then we get to our campsite. So it's late in the evening. We're in the shade, which is so comfortable, and there's a breeze. It's a bit humid, and it has been a very hot, scorching day, but it's doing pretty good now. This horse we know was here when we left in the morning, although we didn't follow the prints here. We followed them way further on when we stumbled onto them. And we didn't follow this trail, but we got out to the road and the horse trailer was there, so that's how I know. And it was gone this afternoon, so that's how I know when approximately the horse was here. We think that we passed him coming our way as we were going out and didn't see. We may have been way over the other side of the creek. So this has made it a very nice journey in. A, having shade all the way. B, having horse prints. Because if the horse can do it, it's a lot easier for us to do it than continually trying to find ways to get over big boulders in the creek. And there's big boulders right in the middle of the creek that fell there. Somehow the water can get around, under, whatever. But it's really hard to walk it. So we lost the the horse tracks. At one point I thought I saw a bear track, but when they get rained on, you can get to... Oh look, horse tracks! Oh. Right there. Oh. Okay. Oh, well, okay, we haven't lost them. I couldn't find them. I started just wandering aimlessly in the direction that I thought we wanted to go, and came across them. Okay, where are they? Lost them again. No, they're not here. Anyway, I think our campsite is just around the corner up here. So, and anyway, we have GPS to show us where the trail down there is. And it's still light. I was hoping to filter some of the spring water, get a bucket of water, a little bucket, and rinse my activewear shirt and dry it before sunset, so I could put it back on and sleep in it. Because this activewear shirt is great for a warm evening. They're forecasting a low of 71, and it sure feels a lot more than 71 now. So let's talk water purification, filtering. So here is an area, you can see animal footprints. They come down here to this. This is a little creek that runs out from a spring just up at the end of this run. And the spring is stagnant and there's stuff floating on top. But somehow underneath it, water is coming down and there's actually water flow here. So I've chosen to collect water here. There's minnows swimming in it and there's mud on the bottom, and you can't trust this water. So what you do is you put it through a filter. Now I have here a Sawyer. This is a filter that you're meant to screw onto a pop bottle or a bladder, and then you squeeze it and purified water comes out the end. It's a 0.1 micron filter. So what I've done, first of all, I've given it some input. You can see I have some gravity feeding. Then I have a hose that goes down about 6 feet down to a 1 gallon jug there. So I've got suck and I've got push. And maybe you can hear that's like almost a constant stream, a dribble, but it's going to fill that jar. You can see how it started. It's going to fill that jar in a, we'll say a finite amount of time. I'm going to have to be hauling panfuls of water to put in that thing. I use that pot there. It's an easy way to scoop without disturbing anything. So I'm going to hopefully do a whole gallon. I would then have to backwash the filter to keep its speed up. Now if it's dirtier water, I may find it gets too slow even part way up. So whenever I decide that I'm getting impatient, I then disconnect the whole thing, take the filter off, backwash it using this clean water, and then put another batch through. So that water just flows down there and meets up with other flowing water that you can't see from here around that corner and goes down that riverbed that we followed to get to this campsite.